Boys, it took me over a decade to realize how important forearm training, specifically this area, you know, that nice little ball that we all want, how it increases your grip strength, how to actually grow the size of it while increasing your grip strength. That's exactly what we're gonna share for you. It ain't gonna take you very long either, because this video is gonna be quick, right to the point, maximizing results in as little time as possible. Let's get in today's video. All right, boys, first order of business is we tuck in like absolute gentlemen. Why? Because, and let me tell you something, the tank top into shorts, athletic shorts, is OP, man. It's absolutely OP. Plus, it's also because the fitness industry has gone absolutely soulless. The entire world feels like it's gone a bit soulless, and we're here to bring back class back into the space. So, but like I said, it's gonna be a quick video. So first order of business is you're gonna grab a cable machine, and what's beautiful about this, and I try to give you guys the best possible angle, but it's just the setup is just, it ain't easy. You know what I mean? It ain't easy out here. But regardless, you want to take two cables, and I like doing them both at the same time because I have the ability to do so. You can go single arm if you'd like. All I'm going to do is bring in both cables just like this. I'm going to tuck in my arms, and literally, and by the way, you see that nice little cleanness? You might not have that ability, but it doesn't really matter because it's the same thing regardless. But tuck them in, and all you're going to do is your wrist curls just like this. And you don't want to flare out, because then you're almost just like, you're taking away the entire purpose of this, which is the forearms, which is why it's important to tuck in your elbows just like this. And then you do your wrist curl. And I like to make sure that I'm almost stretching out, like letting the cable come out without compromising my elbows, keeping them tucked, and then coming in. And you want to think of this as you want to get stronger with quality reps. Don't worry about 10 to 12, 15, 20 reps. Doesn't matter. Quality reps and as heavy as possible. And just like anything else, you want to make sure you're progressing. That means we want to make sure we're doing more weight while maintaining quality reps. And you take it to complete failure. And then on the back end, because what we also want to do is identify muscle imbalances, especially with our hand strength and our grip and our forearms. There's always going to be, especially if you're left-handed or right-handed, obviously those of you guys that are right-handed, probably going to have a stronger grip on your right hand. I know what you thought about. You're better than that. Okay? You're better than that. Regardless, you need to make sure you're going single arm at least on some of them, which is why I like to pick on the front end, something that's easy to progress in, something I can find the proper contraction with, but it's also easy to progress and get stronger. And on the back end, you can then start adding in these single arm exercises to identify those imbalances, and that way you understand, I need to work more, so I realize my left hand's a little bit weaker, or I notice my right hand, although stronger, dies out a lot quicker. So I'm going to show you exactly my favorite superset here. Crusadia will be the very first digital country. You heard me. Digital nation, digital country. When I say it, there will be citizens, there will be mayors eventually, and then there will be residents. However, for the very first few, because I am only going to open it for 1 week, you will have instant citizenship. You will create the country with me, because the biggest problem in the world today is two things. People want to massively improve their lives. But take it a step further. They are forced to do so in a way that is completely isolated. The reason why they're isolated is for one reason. And what's that reason? You have bad company around you. You're kind of forced to isolate. And that also means, you know, you get to do things your way. And that means having heart in a beautiful spot. But the problem is you want to massively improve your life, but you're forced to do it by yourself. That's why things like monk mode have been glamorized. And it's because no one's been able to solve this problem. This is exactly what I aim to do. If that sounds like you, you're the outlier in your life, you're the outsider, you're someone that hasn't been able to do the things that they want to do with the people they love because they don't get it, this is what I'm creating it for. I've had to do this thing all by myself, and let me tell you something, extremely overrated. But I had to do what I had to do. And all I'm doing is leveraging what I've created over the last 2 years to where it's a home for all of us. The internet's an incredible place because it's global. You're no longer confined to your local environment. And that way you actually get to go off into, and this is cheesy, quote unquote war with your boys. Not, hey, for the weekends, I live for the weekends, then during the week I hate my life. That's not how we do things here. We are here to take over. I promise you we're gonna reign king. Waitlist down below. And guess what? You might just one day be able to have some heart hanging out with all the rest of the Crusaders. It's exactly what I plan on to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing you inside. And boom. All right, so you want to take a dumbbell, and this is easily one of my favorite variations. You can also place this on the front end if that's something you want to do. But let me back it up a little bit just to make sure you guys have good. See, I care. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys proper angles and stuff. You know what I mean? But What I like to do is go single arm on these guys. And this is something I don't see that many people doing, although it seems obvious. But I like to lean over almost like this way, right? And I like to crank up the weight on this because it's actually very safe to load. It may not feel that way, but it's because I'm not sprawling out. Everything's staying tucked in, I'm compacted. And that way I can just focus on the wrist curl itself. And it works the same exact way as we did with those cables. Same exact way. And all you're doing is you want to let the stretch sink in, and then you want to come up on the curl. It's not that the stretch is magic. All right, switch to the other arm. But what it does, it allows you to form correct. It actually makes sure that your form is coming in as clean as possible. Because if you're stretching on every single one, now you have a proper contraction. You don't have to think about, dude, I don't feel it. If you don't feel it, lean in on the stretch of the movement, because then the contraction takes care of itself. And that's less thinking for us. And like I said, it's not going to take very long to grow the size of your forearms. You don't have to spend 20 minutes doing this. Quite literally, all I'm doing is 2 sets of that. I will do 1 more set, and I am good for forearms in this area. I apply the same framework to my extensors, same framework to my biceps, to my chest, to my everywhere. And it's because I don't allow, even for a second, I personally like sizing things up and packaging things up in a way to where it would just be nearly impossible for me not to grow. That's it. And that's why I size it up this way, because now I'm in the gym for less time and I have vastly better results than basically everyone that goes to the gym, in terms of like the people I typically see there. Even though I don't go to a gym anymore, probably why I'm the biggest guy in the gym is because I'm the only one that works out in this gym, right? But real talk, most people go to the gym for 10 years and they look the exact same. It's not a coincidence. I swear to God, forearms is one of those things that if you've been lifting for a while, it's one of those things that can really start just cranking you up in terms of the hierarchy of where you see yourself and what you can actually do. Don't miss out on that. I'm telling you right now, like my grip strength since starting to implement, especially with this part of the forearm, through the roof. It was unbelievable. I felt like I was like back being a beginner where you're just smashing PRs all the time. And it makes sense because every lift typically on the upper body starts from your hands, even your legs if you're doing Bulgarian split squats like a man, you know? Anyways, let's wrap this up. And that's it, boys. Wrapping this one up. Short one today, I know. I'm not trying to yap, especially forearms. You guys are barely going to want to do that. It's almost like doing abs at the end of a workout. You know what I'm saying? It absolutely sucks. You tell yourself you're going to do it. Most of the time, you don't. Let's be real. So that's why you have to really figure out how to just compress those accessory muscles, like the forearms, like the abs, like your neck, whatever. It's really, really important. And it's just because those things is what separates. As you get stronger, the more compromised your building is. That's why you get elbow tendonitis. That's why you start getting trap pain. I start pulling this. It's because you're getting stronger. It's a good sign, but the goalpost moves. The things that didn't matter prior now actually do matter. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. Hope this is well worth your time. If there's anything you guys want specifically, please drop it down in the comments. And if people like those comments, give those a thumbs up. And that way I don't make a video on it. As always, y'all, I love you very much. From Uncle Rommy to the Natural Crusaders. Crusadia coming to you soon, June 22nd. I absolutely cannot wait. I am beyond excited, man. It's game time. And I'll tell you what it is. It'll be the very first digital country. And I really want to explain more to that because there is so much more to this. We're actually going to be running it like one, where everyone has a vested interest in one another and real nationhood, like caring about the brothers and your neighbors and one another and being vested in their success, because their success should be your success. It's not like in terms of idealism. We're going to make it actually to where everyone's wins is each other's wins. And that's kind of how things should be set up. But it's about what we do inside the gym. The very first step for me personally was getting into the best shape of my life. And then from there, I used to use it as a cope and as a crutch. And it kind of ended up messing me over because it was like my comfort zone. And when I realized, I'm like, well, what I do with what I've done inside the gym, I should be getting jacked and moving that over into my real life. And that's exactly what we aim to do, all of it, in terms of fitness, financially, we're talking about relationship-wise, all of it, right? And not having to do it isolated in a world where everyone is isolated and having to do everything by themselves. That will no longer be the case, and I aim to fix that in an extremely real way, and I cannot wait. There will be more details coming up. Anyways, I love you guys. Uncle Rommy out. Peace.